Hello, friends. Happy Tuesday. It's time for another episode of Tuesday Live at 5. This is Lena Gerza. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Cambridge, Ontario, Canada. And today I am all about the beautiful Light the Year bundle from the Stampin' Up! 2024 September December Mini Catalogue. Now, this bundle is another sleeper bundle for me from the catalog. It was one that I kind of brushed past. I didn't really pay a whole lot of attention to it until I really was started looking for things to order because, you kind of pick up all the sweets and then it's like, okay, what else is in here? And I found this bundle and I have to say, I absolutely love it. Now, I'm going to say right off the top, I don't have as many extra cards to show you today because I have been insanely busy the last couple of weeks. This past Saturday, I just finished a virtual retreat where we made 10 projects in a day. And this Saturday, I have an in-person retreat coming up. So I have been crazy, crazy busy between working at school and then burning the midnight oil, literally, getting ready for both of my events. So I don't have as many extra cards. We're going to make 3 today. I'm going to have 2 extras to show you, but just bear with me for this week and probably next week because I'm running on fumes these days. Anyway, you don't need to listen to me complain about how tired I am. Let's do some stamping. Let me know you're here. Tell me where you're watching from. And whether you're watching me live or joining me for the replay, it's always nice to know who's out there and who's joining me and from where. So let's see who we got here. Hi, Jeannie K. Hi, Terry from Ohio. Hi, Laura and Crystal. Hi, Mary in Minnesota. Crystal in Uxbridge. Diana in Oregon. Hi, Julie. Hi, Mia from Cincinnati. I could show you some of my retreat cards, but I'm kind of saving those in my back pocket, Terry, because I have a feeling next week I may not be able to go live. I may have to save all of my retreat projects to post next week because honestly, I'm just having some doubts. In the mix of all of this, of course, it's midterms and report cards at school. So yeah, my life's a little nutso right now. But anyway, we'll see. Stay tuned. Hi, Julie. I'm glad to see you. Hi, Cheryl. Hi, Cynthia and Jaylene. Martine, hello. Oh, you just got the bundle yesterday. Okay, well, hopefully I can give you some ideas. All right, let's split to my desk and we'll show you some product here. There we go. All right, so this bundle, like I said, it's kind of a sleeper. It's tucked away on page 41 of the Holiday Mini, the September December Mini. And honestly, I got to tell you, I don't love these samples. I do like this layout. In fact, the second card we do today is going to be based on this layout. I kind of cased this one, but the rest of the samples didn't really do a whole lot for me, which I think is why I kind of brushed past it the first time through. But then when I really took a look at the images and the dies, I thought, you know what? This is a nice little bundle. It's a great price point. It's only $55.75 here in Canada, which is pretty reasonable for a bundle. And it's got these great lantern images, and I've always had a thing for lanterns. In fact, when we got married, I had copper lanterns hanging from all of the pews in the church to light the aisle. We had an evening ceremony, so it was kind of a cool effect. So I've always had a thing for lanterns. So here we go. Here's my bundle that features lanterns. So there we go. Let's show you the products. So here is a little bit larger version of our stamp set. So we've got 2-step stamping for the greenery and the pine cones. But I got to say, both these images look quite nice without the second step. You'll see both, but really they're quite shaded even without adding the second layer. Little candle to put inside our lanterns, and then we've got a couple of pine boughs. Again, these are meant to be 2-step, but I think they look just fine individually. In fact, I have mostly used them individually. I love these sentiments. So honestly, I got to be honest, we're heading into my least favorite month of the year. I hate the month of November. It's so dark. We're losing daylight savings time. So yes, we're gaining an extra hour of sleep this weekend, and I will need it. But we are heading into like this dark, dreary month that I just despise. And so I thought how perfect to, enter this really dreary, dark month than to feature the Light the Year with sentiments that wish us joy, peace, joy, and light, and sending love and light this time of year. And all is bright. I just think this is perfect for the month of November. Then we also have our dies. Now, there are not a lot of extra dies in this die set, which is what makes it more affordable, right? having the extra dies increases the price point. Yes, it gives you lots of more options, but it increases the price point. So I kind of like that we have a bit of both in this catalog. So we've got lots of open dies that cut out all of the stamped images, and then these extra little dies. So this is just a sprig. This can be layered over or behind the sprig to add extra berries. And then we've got some berries here that we can do in a different color. So just a really cute little bundle, and let's see what we can do with it. Well, let me just get that out of the way, and we're going to get to it. Oh, we've had lots of people come in since I started talking. Let me just see who all is here. We got Barbara and Terry. Hi, Laura. Hi, Charlie. Hi, Deb. Yes, I hate losing daylight savings time too, Terry. I hate it getting dark at 5 o'clock. Anyway, well, I'll be down watching live at 5, right? Okay, so here is our first card. This was actually when I designed for a card buffet that I held last week. Yes, I also did a card buffet in the midst of all of these retreats. So you can see why I'm just losing my mind a little. But I really like this. It's super simple, easy to put together, takes advantage of the golden greenery, DSP, for the foliage and behind. So it comes together really, really quickly. So I thought this would be a good one to show you just for a quick and easy holiday card if you are looking for ideas. So we're going to start using the large lantern. There are 2 different size lanterns in this set. So we're going to start with the large one. We're going to ink it up in basic gray. And then I'm going to do my little trick. So I've die cut my blank. I'm going to put my die cut over top of my inked stamp and press. And with any luck, we get a nicely centered image. Okay, so now we are simply going to add some color. Oh, wait, we need to stamp our candle. I almost forgot. How could we forget our candle? So we're going to go ahead and add our little candle here inside our lantern. There we go. That looks better. Yep, Canada, the only place in Canada that does not have daylight savings time is Saskatchewan. So the province of Saskatchewan, which is kind of smack in the middle of Canada, does not change the daylight savings time. Lucky them. The rest of us all have to suffer through, you know, it getting dark at 5 p.m. But we will take the extra hour of sleep. So I'm coloring in the windows on my lantern. I'm using light lemon lolly to color the windows because I want it to look like the lantern's lit, right? It's glowing. And then I colored my flame with light pumpkin pie, just to give it a little bit of contrast. So I'm just going to fill in the windows here. There we go. And then it's just a matter of layering our die cut pieces. So we're going to start with our background. So this is some of the fabulous Regal Distress Patterns DSP. If you have not checked out this DSP yet, it's fantastic. Now it's single-sided because of the foiling. So there is this beautiful cherry cobbler sort of distress grid. There is a white and gold distress grid, which you can add ink to. And then there is a pretty peacock sort of a foliage. So beautiful, beautiful paper. So we're going to layer one of the die cuts that I cut using the Nested Essentials dies. These are an online exclusive. And I've cut it from the new textured foil specialty paper. So it comes in a 3-pack. You get this sort of brassy gold, copper, and silver. And I feel like it looks a little bit vintage. So I really like this paper. So we're going to go ahead and add just a bit of ink, or not ink. This is glue. Yes, I do know the difference. Did I mention I'm really tired? Oh my goodness. I do know the difference between ink and glue. Yep. Lena needs a nap. All right, and we're going to center this on our DSP piece. This piece is cut to 4 by 5 1/4. As always, I have included measurements in the video description for you if you want to recreate any of these. And then we're going to go ahead and glue that onto a Mossy Meadow card base. It's 4 1/4 by 11, scored in the middle at 5 1/2. So we'll fold in half along our score line. And then add a little bit of glue to the back of our DSP. And we'll pop that onto our card base. Just like that. And again, we'll give this a burnish. Okay, so now we're going to layer some greenery. Let me just dump out all my bits here. I have a bunch. We're going to layer some of the greenery. So these are some of the die cut pine sprigs from the Golden Greenery DSP. So I'm simply going to take some seal and add it to the back of my lantern here. And then we're going to arrange our greenery. Now I'm probably going to have to trim off a little bit of this because it is quite long and our lantern is not that wide. So we're going to add one there. And probably, oh, not too much. Let's do that. Yeah, I can live with that. And then we've got a couple of the little sprigs that are cut using those extra little dies from the die set. So again, a little bit more glue. And we'll just tuck these little guys in there. There we go. And then this is all going to get popped up on the front of our card. I'm not liking this. I feel like this is sticking out too much. We're just going to give this a little bit of a trim. I'm just going to stick my scissors in there and trim that off. And we're going to readjust. There we go. I like that better. That was sticking out way too much. That's better. Okay. Let's get some dimensionals going there. And we're going to pop this little lantern up. And I'm just going to add a couple to the greenery as well so that they all stay put. And I think I might actually put a mini behind the very top of the lantern because we are going to stick a bow on there. And it would be good if it didn't get squished flat. So there we go. We'll pop this on. And it's going to be a little bit towards the top because I do need to leave space for my label. So I'm going to put this up a little bit higher than middle. And then my label is just going to go off to the right. My label, I should mention, is die cut also using the Nested Essentials dies, and I've heat embossed it in gold ahead of time. You can absolutely take the layout from me, Charlie. That's why I do these videos, is to inspire and hopefully give you ideas. So it's always an honor when people case my stuff. I love it. Makes me feel good. If you like it enough to case it, it means I'm doing a good job. All right, so let's just tuck our little label in there. And then finishing touches, we're going to add some of our fun little berries here. These are back in stock. In case you missed it, they were out of stock for quite a while, but they are back. I may or may not have ordered several packages. So if they go out of stock again, you'll know who to blame. I love these little berries. And then we're going to tie a cute little bow. So this is that fabulous cherry cobbler in gold ribbon. It's from the Season of Elegance suite. I've been working with this ribbon a lot because that was the suite that we featured for my virtual retreat last weekend. So I spent a lot of time with this ribbon. It is a lovely ribbon and it ties perfectly sized little bows with very little effort. Where are my glue dots? There they are. So we'll pop a glue dot on the back of our bow and then just stick that at the top of our card. Voila, really quick and easy. So this is a good one, Charlie, for mass producing. If you want to make a bunch, you were saying you had to make 30. So this is a good one to mass produce. And like you can whip all these up, especially if you die cut the blanks, it comes together pretty quickly. Now we are going to stamp the inside just because I wanted to show you these die or these stamps. Where are they? There they are. So we are going to stamp the foliage or the greenery along the bottom. So this is just a 4 by 5¼ inch white layer for the inside. And these are two different little pine sprig stamps. So what I like to do is stamp with one, go in a bunch of different ways. And then as I come in with the second one, I like to kind of imagine how a pine branch would look. So if I'm going to come up here, right, that's going to look. And then that little guy there. And then this little guy is going to kind of tuck out here. Okay. And then the other thing you can do, I didn't do it on my sample, but you can stamp off to get a little bit of depth if you like that look. Just add a couple more of these. There we go. Okay. So we've got lots of nice lush greenery at the bottom. And then forgot to bring my cherry cobbler ink over. Let's just grab that. We're going to stamp our sentiment on the inside. So I think this is one of my very favorite holiday sentiments that we have had in quite some time. So wishing you peace, joy, and light, which I just think is a lovely sentiment for the holiday season. And most certainly for this dark, gloomy month of November we are about to embark on. So let's ink this. And we'll stamp that on the inside panel. And then that just gets loaded inside the card. So let's just throw a little seal on there and pop that in and call it a day. All right. Here we go. Oh, Terry, I'm glad that I'm highlighting this bundle for you. It is a beautiful bundle, like I said, and it's one that I kind of ignored. I hate to say it. I'm really glad that I discovered it, though, because it's a really fantastic one. All right, let's move on to number 2. Number 2, this is the one that I cased the mini catalog on. So I used all three lanterns. So I used both the large and the small. The two in the background are the smaller lantern. And then I added a little more and, you know, I cased and then I changed, right? That's kind of what I do. So let's have a look at how to put this guy together. So to start, let's get all of our bits out here. I've done most of my stamping ahead of time, just in the interest of time, because the last card I'm going to show you is a bit of a wow. I'm going to warn you, it's not one you'll want to mass produce, but it's worth the effort because it's kind of nice. So here we go. I'm starting with a piece of Splendid Autumn DSP. So I'm using this sort of Mossy Meadow wash pattern. It's cut to 4 by 5 1/4 inches, and then I've embossed it using the what's it called? Birchwood embossing folder from the mini, okay, to give it some subtle texture there. And then we're going to add some of this fabulous, actually, no, we're not going to do that yet. First, we got to do all our arranging. Then we'll add the ribbon. Okay, so we're starting with that piece. And then I have all sorts of little bits and bobs here. We are going to stamp our candles in a minute, but I'm first going to stamp my lantern, my small lantern. And this time I'm stamping in wild wheat, which I think looks very close to gold when it is stamped. Sorry, I just need to arrange a bunch of stuff. I got lots of blocks out here. Okay, so we're going to take our small lantern. Maybe I didn't mount it. Did I mount it? Now nope, I did not. Still in the stamp case. Good job, Lena. All right, good thing I have an empty block here. Here we go. We're going to ink that guy up. And then layer our blank die cut, and again we'll give that a good firm push, okay, and that gives you your pretty little lantern. And then I'm going to bring in my candle once again. We're going to stamp it again in basic gray. I like to use basic gray with Stampin' Blends because it is one of the few classic ink colors that doesn't run when you color with alcohol-based markers. So I tend to use basic gray a lot. I actually prefer it to Memento because I feel like it's a little bit softer. So we'll go ahead and stamp all of our candles here. There we go. And then I'm going to just do a little bit of coloring on these. So again, I'm going to color my flame in light pumpkin pie on each one. There we go. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of a glow around the candle with my light lemon lolly. So I'm not coloring the whole window. I'm just kind of a little bit of a halo of a glow around the flame. So this is just a different alternative for how to make this look like the candle is lit. Okay. And now it's really all about arranging all of this greenery. So I've got the 2-step stamped greenery. So you can see I've stamped the foliage. So this sort of, it's hard to see. Let me grab the stamp set. It's easier to show you. So this image I've stamped in Mossy Meadow stamped off. And then you can see the darker detail I've stamped full strength in Mossy Meadow. Okay. So I just didn't want to take the time to do that live because there's a lot of bits here. And I didn't want you to have to sit and watch me stamp a million things. So here we go. We're going to arrange our greenery here. So I'm just arranging I'm adding a piece of greenery. I'm adding a pine cone. Pine cones are super cute. I've two-step stamped them in pecan pie, full strength, and then, or sorry, stamped off and then full strength. Okay. But again, the pine cones look quite nice, even just with the single image. I don't feel like you have to do the two-step stamping. They actually look quite nice without. And then these little guys, I should mention, are cut from the oxidized copper specialty paper, which is another online exclusive. I love that sort of distressed look. Okay, so there is one little lantern. Now we're going to do a mirror image with the other little guy. So we'll add some greenery and a pine cone, and then another little sprig here. Have it peeking out there. So these two are going to kind of sit side by side, but with a little bit of space in the middle, so we have room for our large lantern. So this one, same deal. We're going to add some greenery peeking out. So we're going to kind of do a 1 and a 2. And then we're going to add some sprigs. Oh, I think I might have put my sprigs on top. Oh, well, we're going to change it up a little. So we'll have our sprigs kind of coming out the sides. Oh, you know why I did that? Because I did do them on top because I didn't want to cover up my other candles. See, I should trust myself and just go with my original design. Usually there is a reason that I made the decisions that I did. And I just need to have faith in that. So let's put our sprigs on first, then we'll add our greenery. Isn't it pretty just with the little sprigs? It's quite nice. I love this set. All right, so let's add, there we go. That's gonna work better. We'll add our sprigs, or our greenery rather. There we go. And then that is going to get adhered, sort of centered on our card like that. Okay, so these are all glued flat with the exception of our large lantern. So let's throw a bit of seal on these guys and we'll get them glued down. So there's a 1. And there's a 2. And then this guy, we're going to throw a couple of dimensionals on as soon as I find them. There they are. So we'll kind of, yes, I know I'm going dimensional crazy. I like my things to stay popped. I have been known to be mocked for the number of dimensionals that I use on projects. That's okay. I can take it. All right, so we're going to center our large lantern between the 2 small ones. Isn't that pretty? Such a lovely set. All right, now we're going to stamp our label. So this label is cut using the Peaceful Season dies. Love the labels in that die, and I sincerely hope that this bundle carries over. Okay, where is my stamp? Tell me I mounted this one. Nope, I didn't. Oh my goodness, you guys. I am so disorganized today. This is what happens when Lena's up till midnight for weeks on end. Lena does not do well with no sleep. Okay, we're going to stamp this in Mossy Meadow ink. Laura, the measurements for all of these cards are posted in the comments, or sorry, in the video description. So once the live ends, you can, are you on, yes, you're on Facebook, or sorry, on YouTube. So if you scroll down, you'll have to click see more, and then scroll down, you will see all of the measurements for all of these projects. Okay, obviously the directions are as I'm explaining how to do it, but all of the measurements you will find posted in the video description. Okay, so last thing we're going to do is add a little bit of greenery to our label here. I'm going to add one little sprig kind of coming around. It's almost like a little wreath there. And then this little guy is going to tuck out like that. And then we're going to thread some ribbon. All right, so we have some of this gorgeous, ooh, I don't have very much of this. We're going to have to be frugal with our ribbon. We're going to thread one end of this through the slot in the label. And that's one of the things I love most about these labels is this, the slot. So you can use them like a ribbon slide. I need to trim this because it's kind of frayed. Doesn't want to go. There we go. So we're going to slide that on. And then I'm just going to get an idea where it needs to go. So it's going to kind of run across the bottom of my lantern. Oh, I should have put it up a little higher. No, you know what we can do? We'll move this up a little bit. We can adjust. We'll make it work. There, so that's not hanging down quite as long. That will work better. There we go. So it's going to kind of hang out right about there. All right. So what I'm going to do is put a couple of dimensionals on the very ends of my label to pop that up over the base of my lantern. And that's also going to help hold the ribbon in place. So we will get rid of our backings, and I may also add one, maybe we'll do a big one on my little greenery bits here, just to make sure everything stays put. So we're going to just tuck that in, just like that. Okay, I'm going to trim this ribbon off. We're going to use what's left to tie a bow in a second, but for now, we're going to wrap the ends around the back of our panel here and just secure them with a little bit of seal. There we go. And then that is going to get layered on a piece of that textured metallic, but this is in the copper. So now I know this is going to disturb many of you. I have not cut anything out of this. If you are someone who that bothers, feel free to cut something out of this, or cut, you know, a rectangle out of it, so you're not wasting all that gorgeous copper metallic. I just didn't have the time. I'm just going to be honest. There was a time on the weekend where I thought I wouldn't be able to go live this week, because it was just one of those weekends. But here we are. I made it. And I'm not being especially frugal or careful with my supplies. So you can all be more careful than I am. Okay. So there we go. We're going to layer that on a wild wheat card base. It is 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. So we'll fold that in half. And I love that wild wheat really reads as gold. It's a beautiful shade, especially for the fall. I was driving home from work today, admiring the fall colors and thinking, wow, Stampin' Up really nailed it with wild wheat. It is like the perfect fall shade. So let's just add a little glue here and layer our card front onto the base. There we go. And then I have just enough ribbon left here to tie a little bitty bow. What I love about this ribbon is that it is so soft and it ties such easy bows that hold really well and hold their shape. I just think it's such a beautiful ribbon. Another one I hope carries. It would be fine with me if all of my favorite products just never retired. I would be quite fine with that. So we're going to add our bow to our card just by pressing the knot into a glue dot. And I'm just going to put it right in the corner there. And then our last touch are a few sequins. I didn't have any more of the copper, so these are kind of a brown, but they will work. So we're going to add a couple of these guys just kind of tucked in and around our lanterns here, just to add even more sparkle. Well, let's put that guy, let's put this one up here. There we go. Okay, so there's our finished card. Now on the inside of this one, I did some two-step stamping. So I'm not going to take the time to show you how to do the two-step stamping today, just because I really want to get to this last project, which is going to take a little bit. But I just stamped some more of the greenery and some of the pine cones on the inside. Okay, the ribbon is wild wheat rustic something. If you do a search online for wild wheat rustic, here, let me look it up in the catalog. It's right here. Ribbon, wild wheat rustic striped ribbon. See, it wasn't that far off. I usually just search wild wheat ribbon and it comes up. It's the only wild wheat ribbon we carry. Okay, there we go. We're done with number 2. Number 3, I'm going to warn you, this is not, oh, I forgot to show you something really important. Can you see the difference? Let me hold these up close. Can you see the difference in these stamped images? Can you see that this one is filled in a little more and this one's a little bit blotchier? Can you see the difference there? Let me show you what I did. I forgot to do this step. I just took my blender pen and I'm activating the ink with my blender pen. And I'm just going to blend this out, and I'll do this, the center lantern, so you're going to be able to see that most obviously. Now, this is not going to blend as nicely as it would have if I had just stamped it, right? This I stamped last night. So it's had like 24 hours to set up. So the ink is not going to move quite as easily as if you like did this step right after stamping. But I did want to show you what a difference it makes in the overall look. Okay, can you see the difference between the center lantern and the two side ones? Okay, it does make a pretty big difference. This paper here, Laura, it's the oxidized copper. Oxidized copper specialty paper is what this stuff is. Okay, I did want to highlight that that little trick there to get a nice even stamped image with this stamp set. Okay, all right, let's go on to number 3. Number 3 is a fun fold. So this is a little bit of a wow. Okay, so it's starts out just with a belly band. I've used some of the Season of Elegance DSP. This slides off, and then this is a center easel card. So you stand up your little lantern in the middle, and then these guys stand up at the sides, and you get this lovely little tabletop lantern. Do you like that? There's my garland in the background. I actually thought of this card in my sleep one night. I don't even know what night it was, but I woke up and I'm like, I have to make this card. So here we go. I'm going to show you how to make it. This is actually way easier than you think. Okay. All right. So let's get this out of the way. I'll close this up for a minute. And away we go. So to start, I have my card base here. It starts out just as a regular card base. So 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. Okay. Really, really simple. Then I'm going to do one cut from that top edge down to the score line right in the middle. So this is at 2 3/4. Okay, so I put it into my trimmer, lined it up at 2 3/4, and cut down to the horizontal score line. Okay, all right. Next, you're going to turn your cardstock. So I fold this side back, and I'm lining up the top of the cut with that bottom corner. I do a diagonal score line. Okay, then I flip it around. Do the same thing on the other side. Center or top of the cut down to the bottom corner. Okay. Yeah, this is not a mass production card at all. Okay, I'm just going to put that out there. There are so many moving parts and bits and pieces to this, but for someone special, or as Deb said, for place card holders, like you could put everybody's name instead of stamping a sentiment here, right? You could put everybody's name on this little banner and have these standing at your place settings for Christmas. Wouldn't that be a great table setting? Okay, so let me show you how to put it together. Thank you for all your kind words. But we're not going to get through this if I don't get to it. It's already 5:30. Okay, so that's all there is to create the card base. So regular card base, scored at 4 1/4, put it in, cut at 2 3/4, and then score on the diagonal. All right. So then I'm going to take and fold on those diagonal score lines. So the only trick here is you want to make sure if your score doesn't quite go into that cut line, you may need to compensate a little bit. So I'm just going to bend this in. Mine are pretty good. And then give that a good burnish. Okay, you do want to burnish these well to make sure that your little wings here stand up. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so that is going to give me my little pop-up. Okay, that part's easy. Actually, this whole thing's really not that hard. It's just a lot of bits. Okay, so then to do your DSP for the front, let me pull out my little triangles here. So many bits, so many bits. Okay, so for the front, I cut 2.5 by 4 inch panels of DSP. I cut it from the same piece. So if I put this together like a puzzle piece, I will get something that looks like this. Okay, so I took a piece of DSP that was, let me get rid of that little bit there. This was 4 by 5. Okay, 4 by 5 inch piece of DSP. Cut it in half at 2.5, and then cut on the diagonal in the same direction. This is actually backwards, but in the same direction as my folds are going to go. It should actually go this way. Here, let's just do this. There. And then I have my continuous pattern. So you could do this with any DSP. If you want the pattern to be continuous across your front panel, you just want to make sure you cut it from a single piece of DSP. Does that make sense? All right, so now we're just going to glue our triangles on. So a little bit of liquid glue here, and we'll pop those on. So here's a one. And I like to snug this up a little bit closer to the folds, to the score line, than to the edge. Okay, I just feel like that looks a little bit better. Not that we're going to see much of it because we're going to be covering it with our little garland anyway. And then triangle 2. And triangle 3. I just try to pay really careful attention to this bottom edge because you are going to see that when the card is closed. So you just want it to be nice and tidy and lined up there. And then our last triangle goes up here. There we go. Okay, so that is our card base. Easy peasy, right? Right. Okay, now for the inside, this is just a 4 by 5¼ inch panel of DSP, or of cardstock. Goodness me. And we're going to do a little bit of stamping with that greenery image, or the 2 greenery images. So I decided to do 2 tones. So I'm going to start with Old Olive. And one of these guys, I'm just going to get rid of the Mossy Meadow that's on here. So we're going to stamp a few little Old Olive sprigs across the bottom. And then I'm going to keep that out because I may add some more. I'm going to add some Mossy Meadow. The gold swirls is the Season of Elegance DSP, Jean. It's from that first suite that is featured in the catalog. It's a gorgeous suite. I featured it a couple of weeks ago. Let's throw another one of these and maybe just a little branch there. There we go. Okay, so that is all that we're really doing on the inside besides stamping our label. So let's, actually I heat embossed my label, so we don't even need to worry about it. All right, so on the inside, we're going to have our label. Now, the important thing with any easel is that you have a popped piece that is going to catch your pieces, right? So this label is going to get popped up, but I couldn't resist adding a little bit of ribbon. Now, this ribbon has been discontinued, but it was, last time I checked, available on the clearance rack, okay? It comes in a 2-pack with the Real Red and the Garden Green, both of which are in a ton of our DSPs this season. So it's great ribbon to pick up because it's going to go with a whole bunch of current stuff. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and layer our ribbon. We're going to thread it through just like we did on the last card. And I'm going to use some dimensionals to hold the ribbon in place, but also to pop up our label so that it will catch our easel pieces. So just want to make sure it's centered. Just going to add a few dimensionals here to hold it down. There we go. And then that is going to run right about there. I'm not going to actually stick it down just yet because I'm going to show you how to do our little pop-up piece for our lantern. Okay, so this little strip is 3/4 inch by 3. Okay, and it is scored at 1 and 2 inches, so basically every inch. So I'm going to fold the first score line up and then the second one down. So I'm making a little Z or Z for my US friends. Okay, and then that is going to get glued. I'm going to glue the top first little tab centered-ish on my white piece. Okay, so that is going to get glued centered-ish. Now, ideally, it will be centered because we have our slit that's in the center, right? So what we're going to do, I'm going to take off my ribbon, and I'm actually going to measure this on my grid paper. So I've got this at 5 1/4. What's half of 5 1/4? 2 5/8 is the correct answer. If anybody caught that? So 2 5/8 is going to be the middle. So I'm just going to make sure that that gets glued on so that it is centered. All right, so I'm going to put just a little bit of liquid glue there. And We're going to put this on at 2 5/8. Okay, and then our lantern is going to get glued to that. But first we got to stamp our candle and add some greenery. Okay, but that's where our lantern's going to go. But by gluing that piece on first, that gives us an idea of where we want our banner to go. Okay, if we put it too high, our lantern's is gonna stand up really straight, and we're not going to be able to catch our wings there. So by putting that piece on, it gives us a pretty good idea of where it needs to be. So now we can get rid of our backings on our dimensionals and center that-ish on the front of our card, or of our panel here. And then we'll trim off our excess ribbon. And then we're going to flip this over after we flatten our little pop-up piece. And again, secure our ribbon to the back side. And maybe we'll get rid of that extra bit there. Okay, so now this is ready to put inside our card. So we're going to adhere it just centered on the inside of our card, just like that. Okay, so a little bit of glue. And get the ribbon out of the way. We'll pop this in. Just like that. Okay, and you can see already my little wings here are going to catch on my label after I burnish them better so that they fold and stay down. Right now my wings are not staying folded, but they will. All right, so that is that. Now we need to do some decorating on the front. Actually, let's finish our lantern first, then we'll decorate the front. So we're going to stamp our candle once again. And this time I actually did something a little different. I stamped my candle in real red and then the flame in basic gray. So to do that, let's just get rid of the ink that was on there. I'm just going to ink up the candle portion on my ink pad. That's the beauty of photopolymer. You can see exactly where you're inking. And then I'm going to ink up the flame and the wick in basic gray. So you just want to make sure you get the whole wick. If you don't, you can draw in a wick with your markers. There we go. And then we're going to color just like we did the last one, except this time I'm going to add a halo and color the windows. So let's fill that in. I also should mention, I did my lantern. I will hold this up to the camera in a minute. So I stamped my lantern in wild wheat and then immediately added some gold embossing powder. And what that did is it gave it sort of a bit of a bronzy, burnished, antique look. The gold embossing powder didn't stick to the entire image, just select parts that were still wet after I had stamped it. And I love the look. So let me hold this up so you can see. Can you see how it's sort of distressed a little bit? This is my new favorite technique with embossing. Okay, so stamping in the wild wheat and then embossing with gold embossing powder right away. I didn't use any Versamark ink, it's just the wild wheat. And I love that look. Okay, so now we're going to add some sprigs. I have lots and lots of little red sprigs here. They're cut from real red cardstock, and I've got dimensional backings where I don't want them. So we're going to add a sprig to each side. And then a little bit more adhesive. And these little bits of greenery, I just stamped using the one image, a single image, rather than two-step stamps. And I stamped on old olive cardstock. So you don't need that second layer. You get really lovely shading just with the one image. Now I need to mention, when you are adding these little sprigs and whatnot, you want to make sure that you don't go below the base of the lantern, because that's going to interfere with your lantern standing up, right? We want to make sure that it stands up properly. So then it's just a matter of adding a little bit of glue to our bottom tab here of our little easel stand, and then adhering our lantern. And then that is going to stand up like that. Okay, easy peasy. All right, now it's just a matter of adding our garland along our fold. So there's a couple of ways to do this. I use liquid glue just because I wanted to make sure that I was getting my glue only on the bottom half of my images. So the easiest way to do that is to just apply a little bit of liquid glue, come on, along that fold there. And then we're going to layer our images. So I'm going to start with some greenery and then add a sprig. These guys actually used a glue dots. So this is like decking the halls, but on your card. So we're just creating a garland with this these pretty images. There's another one. And then I'm going to work up from the bottom. So we'll put one down here. And I'm going to add a little bit more glue here. We'll add a sprig. We'll see if we can do it without the glue dot. And then I'm going to add it directly to my piece here. Just like that. And then my pine cones. These guys, I'll look even more bits in the bag. These were stamped in early espresso ink. Again, single step. I didn't use the second layer. Yes, Mossy Meadow on Old Olive, Julie. Okay, and then this one is early espresso on pecan pie. Okay, and then we'll add a little bit of liquid glue to our pine cone here and pop that on in the center. And then it's really just a matter of repeating the process on the other side. So here we go, a little bit of glue all the way down. We put our first little bit of greenery on. I'll add a little bit more glue so that I can get away without having to add a glue dot to my sprigs. Make it go a bit faster. And then we'll add one down here. And another bit of glue. And then a couple more of these guys. This one we need it on the bottom half. So there's that one. And this one's going the opposite direction. So there we go. Oh, we got a little bit of glue showing. Let's just move that so we hide that. And then the last touch again is another little pine cone on the other side. Okay. So once I fold these, I should have folded them, burnished them better before I added all my greenery, but they will stand up. You want to stand up your lantern first when you're assembling this. So lantern and then the wings behind it. Okay. It's not that hard, right? Just a lot of little bits. Now let me show you how to do the belly band. The belly band's not hard, but there is just a little tip for adding the DSP. So the belly band starts out just, it's a 3/4 by 11-inch piece of Mossy Meadow cardstock. I'm going to lay my card flat, and then I'm going to bring my sides of my belly band up and around. Now you don't want to do this so tight that you won't be able to get it back on your card when you slide it off, right? So you want it, there's going to be a gap. That's okay. We're going to hide that. Don't worry. But you just want to make sure it's not folded super, super tight. Okay, so once I've kind of got an idea of where my folds are going to go, I'm just going to slide it off and burnish those a little bit better. Okay, now to add your DSP, these are just like 5/8 inch, 5/8? Yes, 5/8 inch wide strips or scraps, really. And what I'm going to do is just glue them on each of those little front arms of my belly band and trim them off. Okay, because it's not going to matter that they're not perfectly aligned, and we don't have an equal border. It will not matter one bit. So we're going to add this guy first and trim it off. And then same thing on the other side. Got another little bit of scrap. And trim that off. Okay, now for my greeting, this is just the sentiment heat embossed in gold and stamped once again, or sorry, die cut with the Stylish Shapes Stylish Shapes dies. Yes, I can speak. And then we're going to add some more greenery. So I wanted it to kind of look like a little wreath all the way around. So I'm going to do the same kind of thing that I did on the inside with the two-tone. So I'm going to kind of come all the way around with the Old Olive first. And then I'll use the other image with Mossy Meadow and fill it in. And there we go. So it's kind of like it's peeking through a wreath there. And then that is just going to get layered on a, what is this, 2 1/4 inch gold circle. So we'll add a little bit of seal there and pop that on. It's a very narrow little border, but I like that. And then to put this on our card, I guess it doesn't really matter which one we put it on. They both need a belly band. Actually, it probably does matter. I should do it on the one that, which one was my original? I guess it doesn't really matter. Okay, so we're going to wrap our belly band back around. Oh, it's this one because that one is not secure. I'll have to add a little more glue to that. And then we're just going to go ahead and glue that to the arms, and that is going to hold our belly band shut. See how that works? So I'm going to use a little liquid glue because I want it to be nice and strong. So a bit of liquid glue there, a little bit there. And then center that on our card and on our belly band. And there, oh, let's just give that a second to set up, shall we? Okay. Yeah, you would have to, yeah, it's going to take you a little bit of time, Jean. You're going to do and I'll tell you, doing the blanks, die cutting the blanks is so much faster. I die cut all of those little greenery blanks and then just whip them up stamping. It's much faster that way than trying to align the die with everything. Okay. Oh, I'm glad you like these, Jean. Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad I was excited. I woke up, you know, when you wake up and you're like, oh, I have an idea. And yeah, I was excited to put together. And it was one of those where I just sat down and I just made it. It was like I had already seen the card in my head. So I love it when things work out the way I think they're going to. So those are our projects for today. Let me bring them all back. So we got 1, 2, and 3. And as I said, I only have 2 more to share with you because it's been a week. So here is one that I posted. I think I might have posted this one earlier today. This will probably be making an appearance at a card buffet at some point this season. Uses more of that beautiful red and gold paper from the Peaceful Season DSP pack. And then here's another one. This one I've used more of the Splendid Autumn DSP. So just notice these are the same layout, same card, different orientation. Okay, so I actually cased myself. I made this one first. And then when I was prepping for my card buffet, I didn't have enough of the Splendid Autumn DSP. So there we go. I just cased myself. So this layout works well both ways. The only difference is here I fussy cut the sentiment just because I felt like that label didn't quite fit. It was a little bit too large for the landscape layout. Okay. All right. Thanks so much for your kind words, everyone. You make me feel great. All right. I love spending an hour with you every Tuesday. All right. Let me just get back to here so I can say goodbye. Thank you for watching today. Thank you for joining me. As I said, I am doubtful I'm going to be able to pull off a live next week because of all that I have going on this weekend. So if you don't see me live, do check out my social media because I will share the make and takes both from my virtual retreat that was last weekend and from my in-person retreat that is coming up this weekend. Okay, so you'll want to stalk my social media next week so you can see all of those projects. Okay, everyone, thank you for joining me. Have a fantastic week, and I will see you for sure in 2 weeks. That's November 12th for another episode of Tuesday Live at 5. Bye for now.